Hey guys, it's Tiffany and this is my sister Chrissy. And today I'm going to do a wedding demonstration, kind of like how I would do wedding makeup on someone else. And it's going to be kind of like more of a traditional look, and then I'm going to kind of take it a little darker so that if you have more like dramatic taste, or if your wedding's in the evening, you can kind of take it into nighttime as well. And I'm going to kind of give you some tips on how to make your makeup last all day. I know I did that video before on wedding makeup, but this one's going to be more in depth. I think it'll be a little more helpful because you'll be able to see me doing it on someone else, and I'll be able to give you more tips as well. So keep watching and I'll show you how to do it. Alright, so to start I'm going to use a primer, and I'm going to use the MAC Prep and Prime Skin Base. And the reason I'm not using the SPF 51, you can use it with a brush or whatever if you're working on someone, but I'm just going to use my hands. Now for a wedding and stuff, you may not want to use something that has a lot of SPF just because of flash photography and stuff. It'll kind of create like a halo look, and it'll kind of make you look a little white. So that's why I'm using this one instead of the SPF 50. But I really kind of prefer the SPF 51 just because I think it kind of is more long wearing. Alright, now Chrissy kind of has like freckles and stuff like that, and I don't want to make the makeup look like she's wearing a mask or anything. So I'm going to use the MAC Studio Sculpt SPF 15. Now this does have a little bit of SPF in it, but it should be fine. And I'm using it on a sponge. That's my favorite way to apply this particular one. That might be just a little bit too much. But you can kind of blend it like that. And this is NC25. And just kind of blend it all the way into the skin with the brush, or with the sponge. You can add just a little bit more to cover areas with redness, but definitely don't feel like you have to cover everything the first time around with foundation, just because I'm going to apply the concealer afterwards. But I like this makeup because it really gives a natural finish, which is great for brides and stuff. But when I say natural finish, it doesn't make you look shiny either, so it's good stuff. Okay, now Chrissy's skin's pretty good, so she doesn't need much concealer at all. But I'm going to use the Studio Finish Concealer. And if you're going to work on someone else and you're going to use something in a pot like this, it's best to use something obviously not in a pot, but just get as much as you can on the brush so you don't have to keep re-dipping it. And, okay, I got you. Just cover areas of redness and stuff like that. And then with the other side of the brush you can kind of blend it in. Alright, for any kind of circles under the eye, I like to use the moisture cover, the Select Moisture Cover, just because it looks more natural and it doesn't look cakey under the eye. And I'm using NW20, which this color is actually a lot darker than you'd think. Since it's kind of more, you think it'd be on the lighter side, but this one works really well. And I'm just going to pat it in with my finger rather than using a brush or anything, because I think it kind of gets it into the skin better. Alright, so I know I've said it a million times, but for concealer under the eyes, it's best to use an NW shade because it's going to neutralize the colors of like veins and stuff. That's what we were talking about. Alright, then for under eye concealer, you definitely don't want to set it with the same thing that you set your powder on your face with, but you do want to set it with something because you don't want everything to stick to it. So this is the Benefit Powder Flage, and it's going to kind of make everything look bright under there too. Alright, so to set it, I'm going to use the Medium Dark Mineralized Skin Finish Natural. I'm using kind of more of a dense brush so that it puts down just a little more than normal, and this is going to give a really nice natural finish as well. It's not going to look cakey or anything. And over any areas that you've applied any kind of concealer, just kind of tap it on first so that you don't knock the concealer off of it. Alright, so for a base I'm going to use the MAC Paint in Bare Canvas. This works pretty well for a variety of skin tones if you're kind of on the lighter side. It definitely would be a little ashier on people that have darker skin tones. Alright, so I'm just going to blend that in. And this is kind of a two-in-one thing because the paints kind of prevent creasing as well. I wouldn't really recommend doing a paint pot or anything like that because that might be a little too greasy, even if you do something under it, especially if you really, really want it to last all day. So that kind of brightens it up and it looks like it's evened out her eyelid too. Okay, so Chrissy has a little bit of a smaller eyelid space than me, so this is going to kind of be good. Alright, so the first color that I'm going to use on her eye is going to come from this NARS Holiday palette. I think that's what it's called. And it's this color right here. It's the one on the bottom. It's the pink color. It doesn't look pink, but it's going to kind of look like a really pretty iridescent pink. And I'm just going to dab that on the lid. Alright, so since Chrissy has kind of a smaller lid space, I'm going to use a smaller crease brush. Not smaller, but I'm not going to use anything like this, like a big fluffy one, because that might be too much. And I'm going to take just a little bit of soft brown, and I'm going to blend that right into her crease and just slightly above. She's got the same lid space, she just doesn't have as large of a brow bone area. So it's a little different. When I'm applying this soft brown, it's okay to go up kind of far, you know, because I'm going to touch her eyebrow with it, but that's okay because when we apply the brow highlight, it's going to fix it. But it needs to go up a little bit higher, like a little closer to the eyebrow than I normally would put it closer to my eyebrow, because it's got to show up. Alright, then I'm going to take this NARS Cordura Duo, and I'm going to take this lighter shade, and I'm going to use the 226 brush by MAC. And I'm just going to apply it to the outer corner, kind of going into the crease, into the outer half. It's not going to put down a whole lot of color, but it's just going to kind of create like a shadow. So funny, I'm like trying to work backwards like in the mirror because I can see it better. It's a spiky
well, if you want, I can just stay this way, but that might be hard too.
Yeah, it's fine. Just helps me even it out. Alright, then I'm going to add this darker color, because so far we've just put down kind of lighter colors. I'm going to use this Bobbi Brown eye smudge brush, so it's kind of like the brush is getting smaller and smaller as the color gets darker. And I'm just going to apply that right along the lashes, like the lash line, and here, tilt your head back, and up into the crease. Kind of where I applied the color just then, but a little more concentrated. Not quite as blended outward. Right, then I'm going to take that same color on a pointy brush, like a 219, and I'm just going to go right on the lower lash line. Not inward too far though, because you don't want it to look too smoky. Alright, now go back with a smaller brush. I'm going to use a 242 by MAC and use that same pink shade that I used before. That color is actually called Himalayas. Alright, then kind of touch it up on that inner corner and kind of blend it kind of along the sides where it connects to your nose, and blend it upward, kind of up toward the eyebrow.